When you hear the word pro, what comes to mind? Something directly related to the word, probably, but at the very least, pro indicates something designed for professionals. But what defines something designed for pro users? Apple seems to think it's their new MacBook Pro, gleaming with a quick processor, a redesigned keyboard, a shiny touch strip, a massive trackpad, and a new body that is sexy AF. But is the 13 or 15-inch model better? So, I started out on the 13-inch model with Touch Bar, so let's begin there. Came in the mail on the 17th of November, and I went with that model originally for quite a few reasons. Number 1, the price. It's cheaper than the 15-inch, which is a big deal for most people. If you don't care about the Touch Bar, and we'll get into that a little bit later, you can get a 13-inch MacBook Pro for $1499 without the Touch Bar. It's not cheap, but of course cheaper than the $1799 base model with the Touch Bar. It's also $900 cheaper than the base variant of the 15-inch, so if price is your deal breaker, you'll want to go with the 13-inch. Number 2, the form factor. Both the 13 and 15-inch have nearly identical bodies, but the footprint of the 13-inch is much smaller, as in this much smaller. As a student, it's also better for note-taking because of its compactness, so if you're all about portability like I initially thought I was, then the smaller MacBook Pro is a no-brainer. I'm not saying that the 15-inch is a big laptop, I'm just saying that compared to the 13-inch, it's pretty big. I was completely convinced that these two things made the 13-inch the better option for myself as a fellow college student, until I walked into a Best Buy and impulse purchased a 15-inch, and here's why I did that. Number 1, the screen size. As a general rule of thumb, bigger is better. As with most things, the same is going to be true here. While it doesn't seem like much, 2 inches gives you so much more room for activities, things like video editing and watching, image photoshopping, and web viewing. The amount of screen real estate gained from the 13 to 15-inch is more than you'd think, so if you use a lot of windows at once, the 15-inch is the way to go. Number 2, it has a second graphics card, which just sounds like a heaven for anything. Now, as a videographer, obviously I do a lot of video and photo editing. While the 13-inch would no doubt have been able to handle some 4K footage, I don't think I could pump out nearly as much content or cut multiple streams like on the 15-inch. Since I opted for the $2399 model, which was the base, I got the Radeon Pro 450 graphics, which handle video work and some light gaming very well. So if intensive graphics tasks are part of your daily or weekly routine, you need to go with the 15-inch, because from my experience with the 13-inch, that Intel graphics card just won't cut it. Number 3, the speakers. This one is better on the 15-inch, but just slightly. To put it this way, the 13-inch's speakers, generation over generation, are a night and day upgrade for audio. The 15-inch's upgrade, generation over generation, is noticeable, but in no way groundbreaking. Those are the reasons that I love both the 13 and 15-inch, and if you're considering the purchase of either, I doubt you'll be let down. They're just amazing, they are premium, and I'm a strong believer that pro work can be done on both, because at the end of the day, it comes down to how you'll use it, which brings us to the lovely Touch Bar. It's neat and it's fun, but it is not a game changer, and I really want to highlight that. The most magical part, as cliche as it sounds, is the emoji picker, and it's my biggest use for the Touch Bar as of right now, if that puts it into perspective for you. I use it occasionally in other apps, swiping through a YouTube video in Safari, or swiping through my timeline in Final Cut, or even pausing and playing the current media, and it's fun to mess around with, and that's the key word here. Because I want to be honest, I was highly optimistic about how this would change the way I interfaced with my laptop and alter computing forever when the Touch Bar was first announced back in October. But after using it for a good week, I'll say this. It's cool, but not cool enough for upgrading year over year. And if the Touch Bar is the only reason you want to upgrade to the new MacBook Pro, then you will end up very, very disappointed. But on these new MacBook Pros, Apple didn't place all of its bets on the Touch Bar. And lucky for us, it's just a complementary part of their latest notebooks. A complementary part to everything else that makes these Macs amazing. This year, Apple made a laptop for today and tomorrow. A laptop that is going to last you for the next 4 years and beyond. And a laptop for getting stuff done. And if that doesn't scream pro, then I don't know what does.